a teenager just sitting in a classroom, smiling, laughing with their friends, looking completely fine. But privately, they're struggling with overwhelming anxiety, sadness, or even thoughts they're too scared to say out loud. A lot of teens keep their struggles hidden, and too often, no one realizes how serious it is until it's too late. So, my topic today is a policy proposal. I believe the US Department of Education should require all public high schools to provide mandatory mental health awareness classes for students. As a nursing student myself, I study mental health daily. And through my research, which is reviewing data from the CDC, Pew Research Center, the National Alliance on Mental Health, and other mental health experts, I've seen how serious this crisis really is. You should really care about this because teen mental health affects everyone, not just the students. It affects the students, parents, teachers, families, and other communities. Understanding mental health can prevent early on crises, change lives, and even save lives. Today, I'll talk about three things: the seriousness of teen mental health crisis, what's causing it, and the solution. So let's start with the problem. Teen mental health is worsening at a rate we can't ignore today. According to the CDC, in 2023, 40% of students reported feelings of sadness or hopelessness, and 20% seriously considered suicide. Even more alarming, 1 in 10 actually attempted it. Even when symptoms are severe, many of this still goes untreated. The National Alliance of Mental Health reports that 50% of all lifetime mental health illnesses begin by the age of 14. Yet, less than half teens with the symptoms receive any treatment. Schools don't have the resources to support them. Pew Research shows that only 49% of schools offer mental health assessments and only 38% of the treatment services, even though nearly 70% report rising mental health concerns. Untreated mental health also affects school life, like leading to absences, failing grades, behavioral issues, and increased self-harm. So clearly the problem is serious, but what's causing it? First, teens aren't taught about mental health. Most health classes focus on physical health, leaving students unaware of signs of anxiety, depression, or emotional overload. Second, stigma is really huge barriers. Teens fear being judged or labeled dramatic or even weak sometimes, so they hide what's going on. Third, school staff are overwhelmed. Many schools have counselor to student ratios around 1 to 400. So far, the recommendation is 1 to 250. Fourth, social media is getting worse. Pew Research reports that 46% of teens are online and almost constantly facing constant comparison, cyberbullying, unrealistic standards. And finally, the academic pressure is getting to these students, like toxic relationships, peer pressure, and even diet can contribute to emotional instability. I'm proposing that the US Department of Education requires all public high schools to teach mental health awareness as a part of their curriculum. These classes would teach students how to recognize signs of stress and anxiety or depression using coping strategies, support friends, understanding suicide prevention basics, access to mental health resources, reduce stigma, and build emotional regulation skills. Research provides that these programs work. They increase mental health, reduce stigma, improve social climate, and help students seek help earlier on. Some states like New York and Virginia already require mental health education, and they have seen improvements in students' understanding willingness to seek help. So on this slide, I've included additional sources like mandatory teaching trainings, peer support programs, school community partnerships, SEL programs, anonymous reporting tools, yearly screenings, and parent workshops. These support systems create a safer environment where students are most likely to speak up. Some critics argue that this takes time away from academics, but according to KFF, when students' mental health needs are met, academic performance actually improve. This includes better attendance, motivation, and grades. So today we looked at how teen mental health struggles are rising, what's causing them, and why mandatory mental health education is most effective solution. I want to return to the image I started with. Here, because teens' mental health struggles are rising. What causes them and why mental health education is the most effective solution. The students suffer silently. I just want one mental health lesson given to them to encourage to speak up, or the tools to help a friend. Policy change isn't just reform, it's protection, it's prevention, and it's hope. So I want to thank all of you for listening to my presentation. And if you guys have any questions, I will take them at this time now. Serge?
How do we know these classes would actually help students? Isn't mental health too personal for school?
That's a great question. Research from the National Library of Medicine and Science Direct actually shows that when schools teach mental literacy, students report reduced stigma, better understanding, and increased willingness to seek help. And in states, like I said, New York and Virginia, they're already implementing this. So where mental health education is already mandatory, schools have shown improvements in school climates and the student openness. So we have clear evidence that structured education helps, even though mental health is personal. Any other questions? Sierra?
So could adding these classes overwhelm schools that already like lack resources?
That's a good question. I also thought about that, but I thought that adding mental health education already actually reduces long-term strain, because when students receive early support, schools see lower absences, fewer behavioral issues, and better academic performances. Plus, the solution includes support systems like teacher trainings, partnerships with community mental health providers, and peer support programs. So that help schools manage the workload. It's an investment that saves schools time and resources later. Thank you.